We've all felt the impact of the pandemic, but now there's a new challenge. Prices are going up and it's hitting our wallets hard. This isn't just a story about numbers, it's about real people, real struggles, and how we're all trying to make it in a world that's changed a lot. Think about it. We got through a tough time, hoping things would get easier, but instead we're all dealing with high costs for just about everything. It's a big problem, especially for families and young people. They're trying to build their lives, but everything is just so expensive. In this video, we're going to dive into why prices are still high and what this means for people like you and me. In a world grappling with economic challenges and rising living costs, how are individuals and families navigating this new financial landscape?
Warm weather, the low taxes, that has been historically the selling point for retiring down here to Florida, but that is starting to change.
Retiring to Florida has been the dream for many Americans, but it's now becoming out of reach.
When I got hit with the increase, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked.
The skyrocketing cost of living is difficult for both people who've lived in Canada for a long time and for newcomers. That means some people who chose to move to this country are now making other plans.
The biggest one remains cost of living. That is the number one issue for all voters. The Reserve Bank put up interest rates again. You're seeing more and more mortgages roll over from those fixed rates to higher fixed rates, people paying, in some cases, thousands of dollars more a month. And there simply isn't the money to go around.
We encountered the significant challenge of rising prices during the pandemic, a phenomenon that has left an indelible mark on the American economy and its citizens. Imagine a world where the cost of your daily essentials, from a loaf of bread to a gallon of gas, climbs steadily, eroding the purchasing power of your hard-earned dollar. This was the reality faced by Americans during the pandemic. Goods and services once taken for granted for their affordability suddenly became luxury items for many. The pandemic, a global disruptor, not only rattled our health and well-being, but also triggered a seismic shift in the economic landscape. Inflation, a term that swiftly became a household word, encapsulates this era of economic uncertainty. Although it has started to slow, the relentless climb of prices has not ceased. The impact is evident in every aspect of daily life. The frustration is palpable. Americans are not just paying more, they're questioning the value they're receiving in return. From basic necessities to discretionary spending, the pandemic has reshaped our understanding of cost and value. The situation is not just numbers on a paper, it's a lived experience of diminishing returns. Business owners have seen their customer base dwindle as people cut back on spending. The decline in retail traffic, coupled with inflexible landlords, has pushed many to the brink of closure. This economic squeeze is not confined to one sector or region. It's a nationwide phenomenon that has left deep scars on the fabric of our society. From increasing homelessness to skyrocketing prices, the American dream seems more elusive than ever. But it's not just about the hardships. It's also about the human spirit's capacity to endure and adapt. We now turn our attention to the profound impact these rising prices have had on American households. The pandemic's economic fallout has touched every home, altering the way families budget, spend, and plan for the future. Imagine a typical American household where the budget once had room for small luxuries and savings. Now, this same household finds itself making tough choices, prioritizing essentials over wants. Polls paint a stark picture. A vast majority of Americans report their expenses have soared while their incomes have stagnated or even decreased. This imbalance has led to an alarming trend where the cost of living is outpacing income growth, squeezing household budgets to their breaking points. The areas where this pinches felt most acutely are essentials, groceries, rent, and utilities. The price hikes in these sectors are not just statistics. They are realities that families confront every time they shop, pay bills, or renew leases. These essentials, once affordable, have now become significant financial burdens. This economic strain is not only about the tangible loss of financial security, it's also about the psychological impact it has on individuals and families. The stress of managing a household in these conditions can be overwhelming. People are not just fighting to keep their heads above water, they're also battling the constant anxiety of financial insecurity. Families are adapting, finding new ways to make ends meet, and redefining what it means to live within their means. But the question remains, how long can they sustain this delicate balancing act? This tough situation is making families think hard about what really matters. Now more than ever, people are coming together. They're sharing their struggles and helping each other out in new ways. This is a tough time for sure, but it's also a chance to see how one everyone can support each other and build a better path forward. Moreover, let's talk about another big issue: big companies making a lot of money, while regular people are having a tough time. This is a huge part of what's going on in America right now, and it's something we need to understand. First, look at the big businesses. During the pandemic, a lot of them did really well. They made changes, adapted, and ended up making more money than ever. You hear about their record profits and might think, wow, they're doing great. But there's another side to this story. Now think about most people. While these companies are getting richer, many folks are struggling just to pay for everyday stuff like food and rent. There's a big gap here. Big companies are thriving, but many Americans are barely getting by. On social media, people are talking about this a lot. They're upset and asking, why are these companies doing so well when we're all having such a hard time? This isn't just about money, it's about what's fair and what's not. When some companies make tons of cash but don't help their workers or customers, it feels wrong. It makes people angry and frustrated. We've got these big businesses on one side making more money than ever, and on the other side, regular folks are finding it harder and harder to pay their bills. In essence, we see a scenario where the rich get richer and the ordinary person finds it increasingly difficult to keep up with the rising costs of living. This widening gap between corporate success and individual struggle is a central theme of our current economic landscape, one that deserves careful consideration and action. Now let's tackle a tricky question. What can be done about all this? We've seen prices go up and how it's hitting people hard. We've also seen big companies making more money than ever. So what can the government and policymakers do to help fix this situation? This part is tough because there's no easy answer. The government has a few tools they can use, but each one comes with its own set of problems. Let's break it down. One option is raising interest rates. This can slow down inflation, which means prices might not go up as fast. But there's a catch. Doing this can also slow down the economy. If it's done too much, it could even lead to a recession. That's a risk, and it's something that needs to be handled carefully. Then there's the idea of giving direct help, like stimulus checks. This can give people some extra cash to help with the high costs. But again, it's not that simple. This kind of policy can be expensive for the government, and it might even push prices up more in the long run. So what's the best way to go? That's what everyone's trying to figure out. We've got a bunch of people, from economists to policymakers, all trying to find the right balance. They're looking for ways to make life more affordable without causing other problems. Another area of focus is investment in public services and infrastructure. By strengthening healthcare, education, and transportation systems, the government can indirectly alleviate some of the financial burdens on households. Additionally, encouraging sustainable practices and investing in green technology can lead to long-term economic stability and job creation. Ultimately, the solution may lie in a combination of these approaches tailored to address the unique challenges of different communities. It's a complex puzzle that requires careful thought, innovation, ideas, and a commitment to fairness and sustainability. As we navigate this difficult terrain, the goal remains clear: to build an economy that works for everyone, not just the select few. So, we find ourselves reflecting on a landscape marked by hard recovery. Corporations are flourishing, yet many Americans continue to face economic hardships, struggling under the weight of inflated prices. The story we've unfolded today isn't just about the numbers. It's about the real experiences of people. It's about the frustration of working hard and still finding it tough to make ends meet. As we've seen, the road to recovery is filled with challenges and questions that don't have easy answers. The heart of the matter is clear. Americans are longing for relief. They want to return to a time when their earnings could comfortably cover their living expenses. But as we know, the solutions are complex. The balancing act of managing inflation while supporting households is a task that policymakers continue to grapple with. This brings us to a profound question for you to ask yourself. In a world where economic disparities are growing, what are the steps to take to ensure a more equitable future for all? If you've enjoyed this video into the economic struggles and triumphs of post-pandemic America, leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my other videos. Thank you for watching, as it's appreciated as always, and I will see you in the next video.